Last
See,
time I have to do this.
yeah, welcome back to another episode of Repressed Humor Issues, the last one of the season.
Yes, I should clarify. The last time I have to interrupt them because that at the beginning because that's been the thing all season, and then I'm stopping doing that at the beginning of next season.
Thank God. But we are here.
Happy
The end of.
holidays, everybody.
Was that your interruption? That was very tame.
You want me to interrupt you more?
No. But, like season 2, episode 20, it's all right. We've made it. We've come a long way.
Okay, we've come a long way, but we didn't start really at a great place. So
No. This has been a rocky season from a multitude of reasons.
yeah,
I mean, you've had health situations. We've been traveling, respectively. Um, yeah, it's man, I have some fucking stories though, just from
well,
buying this goddamn house.
I was just gonna say you have to regale us with the sewer gases issue that you're going through right now.
Okay. So we bought the house back at the end of October just to set it up just a smidge. And we could always smell, like, at first it was very faint egg smell. And we were like, oh, weird. And we had, like, put it on the main floor bathroom. Like, okay, that's bad. And it was leaking. So we fixed that, like, on the floor and ruined floorboards. Nope. It actually got worse at that point. And we were like, oh my God, did the guy not seal it? And then we could smell it in this specific closet in the basement. Come to find out, sewer gas has been leaking freely through our house for God knows how long. And we have a very fantastic plumber. Shout out Magnolia Plumbing here in DC, who rectified the issue. And so far, we have not smelled anything since his repair. Now, it did cost us a significant amount of money to do it. And I'm thankful we didn't have to go to the next phase of exploration, which was the smoke test, where they have to put some sort of smoking agent in your pipes and then cut holes in your wall to find where the leaks are.
Yeah,
So we
that
did avoid that.
that was the part that I was interested in getting out there is the fact that if you can't tell which pipe smelt it, you can't tell which pipe dealt it. Therefore, you got to look at all the pipes to be able to get there. I just turned
Yeah,
it into a fart joke.
you know, and I haven't even told you about this. So not only do we have that, we have our cabinet situation
So,
where
what is the
the
cabinet situation?
yeah, so the previous owners tried to do a quick lipstick on the pig fix for when they sold the house, and it worked. We're the suckers that bought it. Turns out all they did was put latex paint all over the kitchen, and it started peeling. It started bubbling, and all the areas around any handle were tacky, like almost glue-like,
What
because
was
of
underneath that latex?
veneer.
Oh, okay. That's why they probably didn't rough up the veneer properly to let the water absorb in to get good adhesion.
And latex is not the paint you want to use anyway for this kind of kitchen. Like, it's even veneer or not, it's just not the right agent to bond to veneer.
Right.
And what's odd is it has wood front faces, so that's fine. But they didn't even rough that up
Yeah.
because that's where we noticed the first bubbling. So it's just they just did quick fixes to sell it.
Right.
That's all it comes down to.
Yeah. And then
But
what about the gunshots? Have they subsided?
they have subsided. We thankfully have not had any more, which is good. But the newest nuisance that happened 2 days ago, we have some porch thieves.
Mm.
So we had people, drop off, and honestly, all they got was dog dental wipes. and a business book, a $10 business book, and Amazon's thankfully replacing that, and TikTok's replacing the doggy dental wipes. But what was aggravating is I went out and we have a back alley where you park your cars and stuff. And I go out there and there's the empty box and package for the two packages that they had ripped open immediately behind our house.
Yeah.
It's like, but of course, it's the one time our fucking doorbell camera didn't capture them. So,
Yeah. I got into a fight with FedEx and I gave up on the fight earlier than I should have, just simply because I was too pissed off at them that I wasn't going to say something really stupid. But I had two pairs of high-end shoes delivered, and they sent me something saying, yeah, your shoes have been delivered. And I said, no, they haven't. There's nothing on my porch. And they said, they're on your porch. And I said, send me proof that they're on my porch. They are not on my porch, and I have a Ring camera. I've looked through, and nobody's come through. And they said, well, just because it's not showing up on your camera didn't mean we didn't deliver it.
what?
Yeah. They say that they'll say anything that they can so that they'll say there was some sort of glitch in the camera or something like that, that it missed that particular time or something like that, to avoid responsibility for the fact that their driver put them 2 houses down from my house. Now, the people that own that house came over, and we were gone to dinner at the time, came to our door and said, are these your packages by chance? And I was answering on my phone at the time, yeah, those are my packages. Please just leave them there. We'll have our son come out and get them and stuff like that. But I mean, FedEx was absolutely sure that there was no way that they could not have delivered those. And I was getting on a plane the next day to go to Sweden, or we would have had a FedEx argument. It just wasn't worth it at the time because I would have had to prove all of this stuff while I was in Sweden, which just wasn't going to work.
That would aggravate me to no end.
Yeah. So, anyways.
Yeah.
So this is our end of season episode, and we're going to have Stephen Hawkins introduce our topic for the day. I'm just going to let him go here, and then we'll go from here.
Let's go, Stephen.
The word of the day is holidays.
He sounded very down today.
Yeah, I think he's realizing that he may not be involved in this project next season.
Well, that's okay. He served a purpose.
Yep. So we're talking holidays today because there's a couple of things. First of all, we want to wish everybody a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, all that sort of stuff. And I'll let the loudmouth temp on the other side say his bit about that.
Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, thank you.
Isn't that Chris McConaughey or something like that?
Yeah. I actually typed it in one of my group chats, and I didn't get any reactions, and I was upset by that. That's okay. But yeah, I don't know. What is kind of your experience with holidays? I mean, I can tell you mine are unique.
Yes. So mine are the antithesis of that. We're fairly simple in this household, and every household I've been a part of, it's fairly simple. You open the presents, you be lazy all day, you eat a big dinner, and that's it. We've had a couple of times that we've traveled. There's no big stories that I have about Christmas time. Christmas time is just what it is. Now, we didn't travel at Thanksgiving this year like we normally did because of what happened in the election, and my in-laws, some of them being massive mega morons. But I don't have those disasters that occur. Like, there's no National Lampoon's Cousin Eddie coming out and clogging up the sewers with the backlog in his RV in my past. I just don't have it.
Side note, I saw a random AI video, 3 different variations of Cousin Eddie doing the shit scene, but with the shit spraying everywhere. Anyway, saw that last night. That was very random. That popped up in my TikTok feed.
Yeah, we actually watched Christmas Vacation with my daughter probably about 3 weeks ago, and it was the first time that she had seen it.
Oh, what'd
And
she think?
she was okay with it. It got a little bit boring. It's a little bit dated now because a lot of the
Yeah.
references just aren't there. And none of the people are people that she knows from anything she watches.
Oh God,
So,
no. None of them
because,
have really been active aside from Chevy Chase, and even then.
and Chevy Chase is a huge a-hole, apparently. That's why he doesn't work anymore, is because
Yeah, yeah,
nobody
yeah.
likes him.
He got kicked off Community.
Yeah. So,
So,
but,
um,
so what are your stories to get us started here?
yeah, so I mean, Christmas is weird for me. Growing up, I was an only child for 8 years, so they were glorious Christmases because I was the only one on in one entire side of the family, and the second, like, there's only two of us on the other side of the family, so we all got pretty well taken care of. And we weren't well to do by any stretch of the imagination, but my parents always made sure to kind of go big for Christmas, and they'd get me that one marquee gift that I was clamoring for, and that would kind of usually be it. But even opening stockings was a blast because we could get all this really cool candy that we would normally get, and they'd be brimming full, and it was always just exciting. So there was a little bit of whimsy in it, and a lot of decorating. Like we decorated cookies, we decorated the house, decorated the tree, decorated outside. Parts of it I loathed because of my father. It kind of very similar to Chevy Chase yelling at his son. I was that son while my father's on the ladder dangling, and somehow it was my fault. So
Yep.
those are kind of my memories of it. But
Did he shoot an icicle out of the eaves into the neighbor's window and destroy their stereo by
you
chance?
know, for the longest time we had no neighbors, so that wouldn't have been a possibility. But there was a time he was hanging from the gutter. Yes,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's I think it all had morphed now. Like if you fast forward to this Christmas, I saw zero family. Didn't even attempt to go home. I called or text the majority of them. And then, I have a brother and sister. My sister hates the holidays vehemently. So she did not come home, will not come home. My brother was the only one, the good son, as he's coined himself. He told me that today. Um, he was the only one that came back. And it's just been very, very fragmented, I guess, for like past 10 years.
Yeah, see, I have a 25-year stretch of not going home for Christmas.
Mm.
Um, Being in the US, it's just more difficult. It's expensive to fly to where I have to go to. Renting a car is not cheap, all that sort of stuff. So I that has been a tradition of me not going home. Um, it's I just don't see the holidays that way anymore. The holidays
Same.
are always for the kids for me, and it's for you it's your grumpy looking dog in the picture when you went to that place in Virginia.
Oh
You
my
never
God.
commented on Facebook that I made that comment.
You did make that comment.
Yes,
And one of our colleagues made a comment today. Like, he must intermittently fast with Facebook. Um,
as we all should.
we should. That I told you about how weird that whole experience ended up being, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All
And
right.
then coming back and getting stuck in DC traffic was not helpful either.
For 2 hours
Yeah.
of just idle nothingness.
Let's see. I spent 5 days with my daughter.
Well, that's time well spent.
Yeah, I mean, we watched movies. She's 13, so I decided, okay, we're gonna up the threshold, and we let her watch Deadpool 2 and Deadpool 3. Too much
Oh,
sex in Deadpool 1 for her to be able to watch that, but
okay.
she got to hear all the language out of that, and she got to see. Hopefully, there's no spoilers in this for anybody at this point because it's been out long enough. But the fight in the Honda Odyssey, which when you go back and you watch it a second time, you realize how weird that fight actually is. They spend like 8 minutes fighting inside a Honda Odyssey. No fight occurs outside of the Honda Odyssey in that scene. People get tossed out, but they come back in to fight again. The entire fight takes place inside of that vehicle.
What? So your Christmas, obviously, you bought things for your kids, right?
Yes.
Do you and your wife exchange gifts?
Yeah, kinda. So this year, because of past travesties of justice that I've made in attempting to buy gifts for my wife, she decided she was buying the gifts. She was paying for the gifts in ways that I couldn't see what the gifts were. And then my job was to wrap her gift to herself after she had bought it, purchased it, made sure I didn't know what it was.
So she hid her gift to herself from you, but
Yeah.
made you wrap it.
But she eventually told me what it was before I wrapped it because it
Okay.
was going to be pretty obvious when I saw it. But I had no idea that a month before I started begging her to tell me, what do you want for Christmas? She had already bought her Christmas present.
Interesting. Yeah,
Yes.
we don't exchange gifts at
Hmm.
all. But that was a conscious decision we made like maybe 4 years ago at this point.
Yeah. See,
Um,
I got the traditional mail. I got a pair of underwear and I got a hoodie.
I mean, side note, did you know it's like I learned this today. It's considered bad taste or poor character if you wear a hoodie in Japan after the age of 35.
Okay.
I know, random. I'm like, I'm wearing a hoodie right now.
Uh,
Um,
yeah.
it's like,
It was something that for some stupid reason, I was thinking about it earlier. You're all at your old house when you were in Texas.
yeah,
You always just wore a regular shirt every single time you come onto video, either on Teams or on what we're recording on.
yeah.
You're always wearing something else because you always look like you're cold.
hmm
Yes.
And it's not cold here today. It's like mid 60s.
Oh, we just hit 30, I believe here. Yep, 30 and cloudy.
See, that's balmy. Now we
Yet you're still
typically,
stuck wearing a hoodie right now.
yeah, I like running warm if I go to the gym, but burn extra calories, or it's just in my mind. I don't know.
It's just in your
Now
mind.
we give each other kind of a mutual gift of like an event,
Mm.
or we go somewhere. So this Friday we are doing something a little different. It's also when the new season of RuPaul starts, so we're skipping that in support of Elvis Presley's birthday fight club,
Interesting.
which
Explain.
um it is kind of a variety show, I guess you could say, that they put on here in DC and Baltimore, where they have different celebrities throughout time pair up against each other and fight. And there's a streaking Abe Lincoln that runs through randomly.
So,
Um,
well, hold on. Celebrities fighting each other. Is
mm,
this like in a round robin fashion?
I think so.
I seem to remember something similar to that. Did they
I know.
steal the idea from us?
No,
Hmm.
we would get accused because they've been around for at least 10 years. So
Nobody says I haven't had that idea in my head for 10 years. I mean, come on.
then somebody's reading your thoughts.
The
But yeah,
government. I'll get
that's
my tinfoil hat on later. Look like a
um,
giant Hershey kiss here.
that's one of the things we gave to ourselves. We're going with a couple of friends on Friday night. It's odd though because I feel really fucking old in that it's at 7 o'clock. We had to do the early one because all the late ones are sold out. So we're meeting them for dinner at 5 p.m. And I'm like, is this okay by everyone? They're like, I guess we're eating at 5 because otherwise it's a 2 hour show and we don't want to be sitting there starving our asses off.
Right.
So anyway,
I'm
it'll be
old enough
fun.
that a 5 p.m. dinner is not a big deal for me at this point, anyways.
Wow, that's good.
I do
Yeah. So
identify as 37. So, I mean, I am technically younger than you.
through identification.
Yes. The only
No,
people that say that I'm older than that are the U.S. government and my mother. So
probably Canadian government too.
Canadian government doesn't care about me anymore.
It's the 51st state. Um,
Let's not go down that road today.
Fair. All right. All right. All right. Now, what about New Year's Eve? What do you guys do for New Year's Eve?
Oh, we'll be asleep by. No, we'll be in bed by 10:30 ish.
Yeah, we're kind of the same. It's just not a thing we care about.
Yeah, sleep is way more important because during the week there's so many sleep interrupters. Having to get up early because we talk with European teams.
Yeah.
And then being expected to work till a normal North American time frame. The sleep becomes important because you don't get that sleep in the morning, so you have to gain it on the other end. So we'll watch TV while we're going to bed and that sort of stuff. My wife reads, but a ball dropping in New York does nothing for us. And we had my daughter over Christmas, so we're not going to have her over New Year's. So it'll just be a boring night for us.
Yeah, honestly, ours is predicated by our dog. I don't know if we would do anything differently, but for 12 years, we've had a dog that is wildly afraid of any fireworks. And God knows we've only lived in places that have fireworks, even when we lived out in the country. I think arguably we had more in the country than we do in the city.
Yeah, except those fireworks were called shotgun shells.
No, like when we lived in Texas, like literally on the edge of civilization, there was this guy, had to be a farmer, that did a display for his family with like the full bore massive 4th of July fireworks. And his thing was New Year's Eve, not 4th of July.
Right.
Because I guess he didn't want to compete with the big ones, but he puts on a show, and while it's nice, it's also terrible because my dog's standing there like about ready to piss himself, shivering.
Well, I remember used to go when I lived in Madison to something called Rhythm and Booms in Wisconsin, where they have this small little island in this park, and they let off all the fireworks on this island, and then everybody around the lake it's fairly better than a pond, but they're on the other side of that, and they can watch all the fireworks. And they did that until they burned down the island. They had a year. They may still do it, but the last year I was there, the island was on fire. Okay. Like something didn't shoot right, came back down, went into the trees, and island on fire.
So speaking of fire, this has nothing to do with holidays.
You had a fire in your house, didn't you?
No, not in my house.
Oh, okay.
So we'd come back from the Holocaust Museum on Saturday, and we were coming up the metro escalator back to surface level, and the whole metro is filled with smoke. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And the metro is like a few blocks away from our house. And we get up to the surface level, and it's even thicker. And we're like, fuck is happening? And like you look behind you, there's nothing, and in front of you, left and right, there's just smoke every direction. So of course, being the curious cats we were, we had to go explore and see what happened. So about another 2 blocks outside of the metro station, not condo, but like 3 row homes that were being renovated in a row had caught fire because there were squatters inside that were keeping warm, cooking food. I don't know, whatever they were doing, but caught the roof on fire. And they had 27 fire trucks trying to extinguish these flames because it was a 2-alarm fire. And it was in the proximity to other buildings. It could have hopped to catch like a historic church on fire and things to that nature. And a really good sushi restaurant.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the sushi restaurant was not impacted. But it was wild because like we saw it during and from above, and then after, because our friend went to the rooftop and they could see, because they're on like a 13th story and they could see below. But the pressure from all these row homes, actually blew the windows out of other ones that were not even on fire.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah. The wildest situation that I was ever involved with like that was actually completely different. It's a country versus city situation. I was working in Wisconsin, and we had basically torn apart the inside of a house. We had gutted the inside of a house to be able to rebuild it. And all of the remnants from that, we decided we were going to put in a burn pile. And this burn pile was probably about, I don't know, 10 feet wide by about 20 feet long, like a pretty decent sized burn.
That's good size, yeah.
And the guy I was working with at the time decided, okay, well, the easiest way to get this going is let's pour some diesel fuel on it. So it was soaked in diesel fuel. And then he decides, just for fun, he's going to put some cans of insect repellent inside of strategic places. And of course, it's an aerosol, so it's going to explode when it gets to the right heat. And then he lights it on fire. He gives me a garden hose and say, just make sure this doesn't get to the house. Yeah. So I'm just watering the grass a little bit in front of it, because every once in a while the blades of grass would start singeing. But this is an inferno. And I realized inside of there, the pile was a bunch of books, and we were not going through and verifying which books were in there and which ones weren't. And this is October, so the cornfields, this being in Wisconsin, are dried out.
Yeah.
And as it turned out, I had to chase flaming pages of the Bible that were lifted by the thermals that were heading over into the cornfield to stamp them out before they set the cornfield on fire.
The disciples were trying to do more work.
Okay, I wasn't aware they were the ones burning things. I thought the Romans were the people burning things.
Depends on which book you look at.
There's only disciples in the new books.
Oh, that's right. It's all New Testament.
Yes. So, anyways, so this is the end of our second season doing this.
Yeah.
And one of the things we talked about, and I'm going to frame it up in a very specific way, is our resolutions for next season. So it's New Year's coming up. We're taping this 2 days before New Year's Day. And we've talked a little bit about this, but we've learned some things over the 2 seasons. And this season, because of the amount of time that it took to record some of these things, just based off of travel and schedules and that sort of stuff, my sicknesses, we've learned some things. And we want to make this show better, obviously. Now, I'm going to start this with both Ryan and I agree. We don't care about how many people actually watch this.
Yeah. No.
That's not our goal. We have fun just doing this, and that's the purpose of it. But if we can entertain people while we're still having fun, that's our goal.
Did I just lose my video?
Yeah, you just froze.
Okay.
There you
are.
Back. Anyways, so I'm going to frame these up as resolutions for things that we're going to do in season 3 that season 1 and 2 have taught us. And I'm going to let you go first, Ryan, unless you want me to specifically start with something.
I'll make a resolution to not get banned from AI image generation.
I don't think you have a choice in that matter.
I don't. But if I have to type in testicular torsion again, they're going to permaban me.
Yeah. We test the limits of some of their filters on those AIs with some of the names we come up with for episodes.
Yeah. No, I think one of the things that we've talked about, and you have already kind of alluded to this, is cutting the length of the episodes a bit to make it a little bit more accessible and also easier for us too. Let's be honest. It goes both ways. We want you all to be able to listen, enjoy, interact, give feedback, but also it's a time consumption on our behalf as well. So we want to be cognizant of all aspects of it.
Yeah, and to that end, we normally try to be about an hour. We don't have a set cut off. Anybody that's actually timed these things knows we don't have a set cutoff, but we're going to try to go down to around a half an hour. Now, if we're having a good conversation, it's hard to shut us up. We'll keep it going if it's worth it.
Yep.
But we're not going to try to fill an hour anymore.
No, I think this is a good pivot for us because it just makes what we're talking about more relevant. We don't have as many pauses. I can get rid of my worthless anecdotes and just streamline the show a bit.
I think the big thing is people, the name of the show is Repressed Humor Issues. Yet when there's longer shows, we tend to not feel the need to be funny because we can always get there. And then we end up with these long drawn out shows that, yes, we like to think we have good opinions about things, but this isn't meant to be an opinion show. It's meant to be somewhat funny. And we've lost that through some of the topics that we've decided. So going to a shorter show, hopefully will condense us to the point that we have to be funny in a shorter period of time. Therefore, we're compressing the funny. Therefore, it should be funnier.
Well, and
I just invented funny physics.
That you did.
Yep. I just blew Ryan's mind. He was looking at me like, where the fuck are you going with this? And I got there and he was stunned.
But I think it also, to add to the 30-minute rule and make this more entertaining, both for us and others, is to incorporate video. Truly just finally do it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out how that works on Spotify. We know Joe Rogan does it, so there's got to be some way to do it.
I have confirmation.
Yeah,
it works.
And it works on Apple Podcasts as well. I'm not sure what's going to happen on all the down feeding sites that are based off of RSS. They may not pick up the video, but if you listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you will see video in season 3.
Yep. Yeah. So it's a different way to interact with us. And, if I think it also opens the door for being able to take snippets and throw them on a TikTok if it survives.
YouTube Shorts. I already figured out with my daughter and my TikTok channel that we're going to go to YouTube Shorts if TikTok gets banned. So.
Well, it might be a good idea regardless because but I think that video, obviously you'll be able to see us, interact with us, see what we're referencing. We'll still do our best to describe it audibly in the instance that you're not watching and you're on a train and just listening.
I think it'll also make more sense for TikTok and Chill because right now we have to find things that make sense just from an audio perspective. But there's videos that we see.
Oh my God, we could put half the Nutter Butter things up there finally.
We are not putting the Nutter Butters things
in there. We're going to fucking...
No, I edit this stuff. You don't get the choice on that.
I'm going to protest and have candy later then.
You're going to protest and have candy?
Yeah, the protest, the reward. I want candy.
Okay, so you couldn't just say that like a normal human being. You had to code it into some sort of rebellion against the idea that we're not fucking doing the Nutter Butter thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep, this is exactly right.
I get it now.
Yep.
So
we could, instead of TikTok and Chill, we could do like Codify and Chill. Never mind. Anyway.
Is it going to end up with Catfish and Chill by the end of this? I mean, where are you going with this?
We could. I don't know.
There's entire TikTok channels just dedicated to those radio stations that try to catch people cheating. I don't want to do that. I think that's highly exploitive, and I think a quarter of those are probably scripted.
Yeah, they have to be. I mean, that show that's on MTV, isn't it still on, the Catfish show?
Do you know when the last time I watched MTV was?
Ooh, please tell me it was
Jackass.
Oh, no. Well,
Jackass was the last thing I saw on MTV.
Yeah, but
I don't think that Jackass has done a regular show on there since the first movie. I'm not sure. But
I was thinking of the Celebrity Deathmatch, the claymation.
No, I never watched that. I grew up in Canada. We had much music. We didn't have MTV. We didn't have VH1.
You didn't have pop-up video?
You got to realize my parents didn't get cable until after I moved out of the house.
Oh,
So
I
we
didn't
got
get cable
broadcast TV. I
yeah.
had CTV, CBC, and the French channel that showed porn late at night.
I
Which,
didn't have cable until I moved out as well. Yeah.
as a 15-year-old boy, okay, having porn on. Now it wasn't like hardcore porn, but it was reasonable porn. Having porn just come through on regular broadcast TV was amazing.
I might have a porch thief happening again right now. I just heard a package get dropped off. We'll see.
Okay, you want to go grab that package and I'll fill?
I want to record them because I upped the sensitivity.
Okay.
And I will claim it costs $1,000, whatever's in the package.
Because then it's grand theft.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, got it.
Because I perceive the value.
In jail.
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah,
that's the advantage of living on a cul-de-sac is we don't have porch pirates.
Yeah, I mean, when we lived in Texas, we also lived in a cul-de-sac. You would really have to try also to get to us because we were at the end of the road, more or less. Like there was a highway beyond us for farm trucks. That was it.
So going back to the resolutions thing, another resolution, and I haven't talked to you about this one, so I'm just going to throw it out there. I think we need to stay away from topic type stuff like the word of the day. That's why I said Stephen Hawking is probably
I'm okay with
done.
that. Yeah, I kind of like the idea of us just talking freely. I mean, that's what this show was born out of, right?
And if you remember, we heard multiple times just us bickering back and forth because you're a dick. You're people like hearing that.
You're a vagina.
You're a brake vent.
Yeah.
That will always be the end of that. There's nothing past your brake vent. There's nothing you can come back with after that. He's trying, but he realizes he's lost.
You're taco. You're sloppy taco.
I don't know how to go forward with this show. We might as well just end it at season 2 here.
No, I do agree with reducing that kind of structured guys, if you will.
Seasonal sloppy seconds. That's going to be the name of this episode.
Okay, we'll make a note. I need to make a note.
Banned from AI. It's just going to happen. I was thinking of that in real time. I didn't want to lose that, but that is something that will get him banned from AI again.
I can't. Oh, there we go. Because I have trouble spelling seconds.
But one thing I am going to do is I am going to take more of these and put them onto Urban Dictionary because I want to see how many
You've
of these
been on a roll.
I haven't done anything for a couple of weeks though because again, illness, travel, not recording, that sort of stuff.
Most people submit 0 things to Urban Dictionary. The fact that you've had 3 in the last month,
5.
I stand corrected. I'm sitting, but
you had to make that clarification when nobody would have been able to challenge you on it after the fact, whether you were sitting or standing. You had to make that clarification.
You might have made that distinction. Hard to say.
No, I wouldn't have bothered with that.
No. Yeah, that's true. It's not worthy of anything.
That's a you-ism. And I've learned to ignore the you-isms. It's preferable for my sanity that I just neglect the you-isms in my life.
I've been with it being the holidays, to kind of go back to that, and we'll go back to the New Year's resolutions. We've been unearthing some artifacts, and no one's going to be able to see this, but I have the black Mother Mary, I guess, from Montserrat. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess that was a Christmas decoration I thought I needed at one point.
That kind of reminded me of we've started watching Game of Thrones. I know how late we are to that, but we started watching Game of Thrones.
Okay.
just because we needed a new show. And that reminds me of the king, the 10-year-old king. I can't remember his name.
Hmm.
And his mother that he breastfeeds off of her, even though he's 10 years
Oh
old.
my God.
And the
It's such
first
a.
time you see him, he's wiping the milk off of his chin. That's what, if you want a visualization in your mind of what that looks like, that's exactly what it just reminded me of.
Have you seen Little Britain?
No.
Oh, there's a whole sketch where a grown man goes, "I want bitty," and he's asking for his mom's breast milk, and he's like nursing in front of his new girlfriend. Oh, it's amazing.
Okay. Sounds like a fetish.
Maybe, but mm, just
No,
watch
I
it.
mean, you
Just
watching it is a fetish, is what it sounds like.
on repeat.
I still like, have you ever watched, oh God, it's Kunk on History, I think is the name of it.
Mm-mm.
It's this British woman on the BBC. And what she does is she tells history stories, but as if she's the dumbest person on the planet. Okay.
It's amazing.
I mean, it's just, and what she does is she has real interviews with people where I'm sure by now they understand the joke behind it and they just play along with it. But she asks the most ridiculous questions. Like the last one that I heard, the first thing that she says is, "So I heard it's okay in the US just to shoot somebody with a gun." And the guy goes, "No, it's not okay. That's murder. That's against the law." "Oh yeah, right. The right to bear arms." "Wait, do bears have arms? They just have legs, right?" And he says, "Well, I'm a biologist,
Stupid.
and when they stand up on their hind legs, technically they use their front paws as arms." She makes them come up with these ridiculous things because she went from it's okay just to murder somebody in the US with a gun to bears having arms versus legs.
It sounds like an early version of Borat type thing.
Uh, I don't know. It's less gotcha type stuff. Just more, she asked the most stupid questions you could possibly ever have anybody ask because it's purposely talking about things that, she makes it sound like they're going down a path and then she does the full 180 into something absolutely ridiculous. She does a lot of this on TikTok, but it's also on the BBC app.
Oh, it's new.
Well, they're doing a new one right now, but they've done this for a couple
Oh,
of seasons. So,
okay.
and she does it all with a straight face. It's just unbelievable how she can ask some of these stupid questions. Like you watch the bloopers on Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and
yeah.
you realize how much they screw up. I've never
All the
seen a bloop.
time.
I've never seen a blooper in this. I've just seen a lot of shocked faces for how idiotically stupid the questions she asks are.
Oh,
So
that's amazing.
if you want to watch something that's good, that's what to watch is Kunk on History.
How do you even spell? Oh, is that the one
See,
on Netflix?
Cunk. I don't know if they have it on Netflix. They might, but the
I think
BBC's
it's.
coming out with the next season of it.
I think that's where it's being hosted is on
Yeah,
Netflix.
yeah,
Yeah, I think I've
it,
seen it. It's just an individual woman, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it-
yeah, yeah, yeah.
with the red
Okay.
hair.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, and just the idiotic questions are unbelievable. Like you think you understand how far into stupidity somebody can go until she takes a Second Amendment thing and turns it into bear biology.
To admit TV shows that we're late on that we have just started. We just started Squid Game season 1.
My daughter and I watched Squid Game season 1, episodes 1 and 2 while she was here.
Yeah, we just finished episode 2.
Yeah. I thought you had watched it before.
Only the game show version.
Ah, okay. Yeah, she saw red light, green light as the name of the first episode and wanted to watch it. And I told her
Yeah,
there's some violence in it, and she was all okay with that because she's into manga now, which means that there's some violence in those books. She just figures she can handle anything. I'm still monitoring to make sure we don't go too far, but she just sat there like nothing was going on while Wolverine and Deadpool were beating the snot out of each other.
But I mean, I guess when I was 13, though, I mean, I had seen rated R films already.
Oh, yeah.
So,
My parents owned a convenience store growing up that rented videos. I saw everything.
yeah.
Okay. The 80s were just different that way. Rated R meant you just had to have a good excuse why you were at the theater to go watch it. I
Yeah.
still, I still remember I was like 11 years old trying to sneak in to watch a PG-13 movie, and they didn't even ask us our age. It was Romancing the Stone. I remember even the movie. I had a full thing for what I was going to say when they asked our age, and they just handed us the ticket.
Wait,
You
did
could
you ever
also,
get caught trying to sneak into a movie that you weren't supposed to go to? See, we
nope.
we did. We bought tickets to I don't it doesn't matter. We bought some PG movie and we tried to go see He Got Game with Denzel Washington.
So, what's the worst movie you've ever seen in the theater?
So I used to have to screen films
But
for
remember, in
defects.
the theater.
I know.
Okay.
I had to watch everything in the theater physically. I had to spin it up myself in the spools in the projection house, come back down and watch it.
Okay,
Um,
let me rephrase it then. What is the worst movie you paid to see in the theater?
oh God. Um, man, I would have to say, oh, that's tough because I've seen some like I saw Ghost Ship, which is a terrible horror film with one great scene, and that was one of those where I was just like, I paid $10 to see this utter piece of shit.
So I can beat that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm not. I've not gone through my full Rolodex, but go ahead.
My buddy and I were bored on a Friday night. We were trying to find we would have been 17 at the time. We were
Mhm.
trying to find some place where girls might be. And we thought, let's go in and watch a movie because there's got to be some in the theater. And we bought tickets for Ernest Goes to Jail.
Oh boy, yeah, you might win no matter
Okay.
what I could come
And,
up with. That's bad.
and we sat at the back so that we could see where all the girls would sit so we could move closer to them. Nobody entered the theater. We were the only two that watched Ernest Goes to Jail that time.
What were you expecting?
I have no idea. I was 17 years old. The
Yeah, I
hormones in
guess.
my body were not saying this is probably a bad movie to pick up girls at.
Yeah,
Okay.
like go pick the romantic comedy.
Or go to the freaking food court. Okay.
Yeah.
There's better ways, but this is Carrie and I were just that stupid that we decided, yeah, let's just go into a theater and try to do it. And we picked the worst movie ever made because anybody believes
Oh
that
no. Uh, I now this is not what I paid for, but I sat through Geely.
I don't know that movie. And see, you
Art
watch horror movies, so you can watch a lot. That genre is just filled with horrendously bad shit.
Geely is not a horror film.
Okay, what
It
is
is
it?
it's a I don't even know the premise, but it has Al Pacino and Jennifer Lopez and a bunch of other famous actors. Arguably one of the worst films ever made.
So it's as Michael Scott said in The Office. It's not like Ocean's 11 where me and my friends just got together to have some fun. Because that's really
No,
what it sounds like it was one of those movies where a whole bunch of famous people just make cameos to try to make the movie worth something.
I think they kept throwing celebrities at it, and every celebrity was like doing the director a favor or something like that
Yeah.
because all the acting was so even below half-hearted. I don't know what that would be. It
Okay.
was
So
uninspired.
on a scale of Ernest Goes to Jail versus, oh God, now I've forgotten the name of it. Uh
Geely?
no, the movie with the fake band metal band. Uh
Oh,
yeah, it's
no.
there, but I can't remember it.
Yeah, Bog Hat Life? Nope.
No, they sang Break Like the Wind and
Spinal Tap.
Spinal. This is Spinal Tap. That's the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so Geely on a Ernest Goes to Jail at the low end, and This Is Spinal Tap at the high end. Where does Geely fall in?
I would rather watch Ernest Goes to Jail.
Got it. Okay, so it's below Ernest Goes to Jail.
I would happily watch Ernest Goes to Jail over watching Geely ever again.
Okay. Interesting.
It's atrocious. And I love that you mentioned This Is Spinal Tap. I all too often make the reference of Mine Goes to 11, and I love it. It's a pretty well-known movie, but
Yeah.
I love when that no one else gets it, but there's one person that just goes, huh, and that's enough to make me so happy.
And that's where I know so much else about that movie. Like when he's going through airport security and they keep swiping and he keeps on, he puts his keys in the bin and he puts his belt in the bin. And then finally he takes the cucumber wrapped in tinfoil and puts it in the bin.
Totally forgot about that.
He takes it out of his pants.
Yeah, he takes it out of his pants.
Yes. Or when they're describing how their first drummer died in a mysterious gardening accident.
Oh my God.
I mean, and you look and like Billy Crystal is in that.
I think Azaria is one of the main actors. Or is it Harry Shearer?
I think it's Harry Shearer. But what was David Letterman's music guy? Paul Schaefer is in it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are in it because that movie was like 1982. I mean, it's an old movie.
Oh, 84. Who directed it though?
I don't know.
Was that Rob Reiner?
I do not know. Nobody cared about the director of it. The idea was just the utter lunacy of the entire thing. Like when they have those cocoons that they're supposed to jump out of, play the song, and then go back into. And the two guys jump out of the cocoons, and the third one is stuck shut. And they're trying to pry it and all that sort of stuff while he's sitting there playing the guitar in the cocoon. And then the other two guys get in the cocoon. Theirs close and his opens.
Wait, was it Christopher Guest? That was one of the other main actors.
I don't remember.
Man, I gotta go back and watch this.
I am probably one of the only people that bought their second album because there was an album. Called This Is Spinal Tap. Yeah,
it was. I'm looking now.
It's called Break Like the Wind.
It was Rob Reiner that directed it. He was also in it. He was Marty.
Yeah, but I mean, they do a song called "Bitch School" that they did a video for and everything. And it's
they were like a legit kind of band in a way.
They never played a single instrument. It was all dubbed, all that sort of stuff. They weren't a real band, but they put together a good presence for that. They could be considered the Milli Vanilli before anybody thought about Milli Vanilli. But I don't think they ever held a single real concert.
Oh, I thought they did. Oh, Fred Willard was in it too. That's right.
Yeah, there's just so many people that you don't think about.
Totally random and off topic, but I thought of Kevin Spacey randomly.
Why?
Because you ever have those moments where you're like, where are they now? And I know obviously he had all the lawsuits and allegations, and I think he was cleared.
He was cleared, but he was cleared through a technicality, I believe.
Yeah, I think so too. But it was like, okay, what's he doing now? Because he was, for me, one of my favorite actors for a while. I mean, he did Seven, he did K-Pax. I know that wasn't everyone's favorite movie, but I thought it was pretty good.
I loved K-Pax. K-Pax was such an incredible
we're in a small group of company.
Yeah, like K-Pax, and then that John Travolta movie where he sees the light in the sky and all of a sudden gets the powers.
Oh, Michael?
Maybe. All I know is that entire movie, like 90% of the movie with K-Pax in that movie is distracting you from what's really going on.
Yeah.
And I like that kind of movie.
Yeah. I thought it was awesome. Spinal Tap was a real band for a bit.
Ah, okay. Was it the people that played in the movie that were?
That's what I am trying to figure that out.
Well, come back to us next time we have an episode and give us the update on if Spinal Tap was a real band or not. because we got
Hey.
like 4 minutes left and you're too busy playing on your phone to go with the bits that I'm trying to toss out here, which got us completely away from the idea of.
You threw me down the Spinal Tap path.
And are you
Or-
complaining?
No, that was a great moment. I love it. I haven't talked about that or thought about that in a while, and now I need to rewatch it.
Yeah, it's like my daughter and I did one of our videos. We did we listen but we don't judge.
Yeah.
And I brought up a joke about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and it just in the back of my brain, that Andy Kaufman part of my brain just went, and then we kept on going.
You've talked about that a few times, the Andy Kaufman brain, and I think I have an element of that because there are things that I do, and if they just make me giddy, I do them, and that's enough sometimes. But
yeah,
anyway.
Everybody else does not have to be in the joke.
Yeah,
that's Andy Kaufman humor right there. That's why he hated doing Lotka off of the set of Taxi, because he wanted to do what he wanted to do. He had to get paid, and that's why he did Lotka. But what?
I think how can I get this out correctly? I think one of the dynamics that makes us kind of unique in a way is that there are things that you and I will talk about that it's just funny to us.
Yeah. My wife and I have that relationship too. Like, we've continued the "is gravy a sauce" conversation in bed at night, because
you have no idea how far that went in this household as well.
Oh yeah, I try to just toss little pieces of it out in random conversations to see who will bite on it, because we found out that honey is a sauce.
Well, it depends on what form of honey. Oh, God damn it. We're not going down this path.
I mean, there's things that you can come across that basically, since a sauce is technically a topping, okay, it's a liquid topping, or, excuse me, a semi-liquefied topping, lots of things become sauces. Whipped cream is a sauce.
I mean, what? You just think whipped cream is a sauce?
Yes. Because it's used as a topping.
No, that's a topping.
But a topping can be a sauce. Not all toppings are sauces if they're not in some form of liquid format, but whipped cream is in a liquid format. We can go on this forever. I'm not letting you have any more of an opinion.
No, bullshit.
But
fine.
We'll do an entire episode on what is a sauce, what is not a sauce. How about that?
Well,
we could fill up a half an hour with that.
And honestly, we should bring in like a third person for that, because that would be hilarious.
An adjudicator? A judge?
No. Not even. Somebody that's unaware of the conversation entirely. And just bestow it upon them in the moment.
To decide which is correct and which is incorrect for everything that we bring forward.
But also to watch their brain melt when they start understanding what's what.
But they have to be the official Googler to be able to define what is a sauce. Okay, because I know based off of my Google searches what qualifies as a sauce. I'm pretty sure you have your ideas too, but we need an official, this is what's going to qualify as a sauce.
Then I contend that maybe we have 4. We have an official Googler, and that's their only job. But then we have that other innocent who is unaware of the conversation.
Could you imagine the ads they're going to get when they start saying, is whipped cream a sauce? Is honey a sauce? Is ketchup a sauce?
Oh, your algorithm would be so fucked.
Yes. So we got to find somebody that we hate to be the official Googler. We don't have to say their name right now.
No. But they're going to know if they listen to the show that we just labeled them somebody we hate.
So we can't get somebody that listens to the show. Yes.
Well, there's a lot of people there.
Yeah. It'll be like Taskmaster, where they have the Taskmaster himself and the assistant.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. So, anyways, Ryan, for the last time this season, get us out of this hellhole we're in.
Yeah, I want to thank everyone for joining us for an illustrious season 2. It has been memorable. I think we've covered some unique topics. Had a lot of things that got me banned because of the topics, but here we are.
He's figured out how to make plenty of new email addresses.
Yes, I
Yes.
feel like I'm back in my early days of email, trying to subscribe people to or myself to things that I shouldn't be subscribing to.
It's much more fun to
Uh,
subscribe other people to stuff.
man, lendingtree.com. Woo!
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
That was a son of a bitch for a while.
You get those Valpak people sending you stuff, they will never
Oh,
stop.
I think I'm finally off that. Don't start it again.
I think the worst one though is American Express. American Express finds out your address. It doesn't matter if your credit score is 2, they're sending you an ad.
I think for me, it's Visa. A Visa is the one that I'm like, they'll send me, I'll get Chase, Capital One, Wells Fargo, like randomly. Like every single company under the moon, I get a Visa ad for.
I get an ad once every 2 weeks from a car dealership in Omaha, Nebraska, that they want to buy my car so that they can sell me a newer version of my car with a smaller motor. Because they say for the $86,000 it will cost me to buy this new car, I will save $700 in gas over 7 years.
They're dumb.
Yes.
I guess let them keep doing it so they waste their marketing dollars on nothing.
I open it every single time to see how much they say my car is currently worth. Because I know they're like 20% low because that's their margin.
Oh, that's a good barometer, though. But either way, I think one of the things I'd like to ask people, 2 things actually. What are some of your New Year's resolutions? I think that's always interesting to hear how people approach those. I've always had personally kind of a negative approach to them, and I'm trying to do a lot more positive spin on it going forward.
I'm too perfect to ever have to make New Year's resolutions.
That you are. That you are.
Stop picturing me naked.
No.
No, you're not going to stop picturing me naked?
Correct. I imagine it's just Fabio.
Well, I lost that 25 pounds, so it's no longer Flavio. Yes.
But
and
no,
no,
I
haven't
think,
been waiting for weeks to say that to anybody. That just came up right out of nowhere.
That's spontaneity, and I appreciate that. But the other thing I'd like to hear is things that you want to hear from us in season 3. If there's anything that you think that like is interesting that we should be including or excluding, even not that we'll take it on and adopt it, but it's interesting for us to read and understand.
Yeah, and we do have to state the one last resolution that we're not going to promise things at the beginning of the season that we don't do for the rest of the season.
Yeah, we can't do that anymore.
Squirt games. I mean, we did an entire episode introducing the people we were going to bring into Squirt games, and then we never did anything with Squirt games. So we're not going to do that stuff anymore.
Yeah, no, we're maturing.
Well, I wouldn't say immature.
That. Yeah, that's overstepping. I'm so sorry. But either way, well, again, thank you everyone for joining us for season 2 of Repressed Humor Issues. Email us at repressedhumorissues@gmail.com. I'm Ryan.
I'm Dan.
And let's TikTok and chill.
Hey, Joe High, what are you doing?
What am I doing? I'm moving sandbags 15 feet that way. That's what I'm doing.
Why?
Does it look like I know?
It's sad that we don't have the video because his eyes make
I know.
Is just.
It's all his eyes are the best part. He's so intense.
And if you look at the comments, this 100% sums up my army experience. Classic angry cops. The enemy can't possibly know what's going on if we don't know what's going on.
Oh, I think what's remarkable about this and those comments, to be honest, is talking to so many of my military buddies. This is their exact experience. They're like,
oh yeah,
they would never explain things to us. We do things, menial tasks that had no end, and there was no rhyme or reason to them. Amazing.
That, and I have a couple of military friends too. the amount of downtime that they have, we don't think about the amount of downtime they have, especially if you're a mechanic in something. Okay, you're in cavalry, or you're Air Force. They have a lot of downtime. And,
or if they're deployed, they have a lot of downtime.
yeah, and you put a bunch of guys together that are all in their late teens, mid 20s, highest is in their early 30s, with a whole bunch of equipment that's never going to get used anywhere else, with a whole bunch of time and a whole bunch of money to bet on what they can do to each other. And these guys will wreck some shit.